Good morning, everyone. How are you today?
Good.
Good. My name is Angel Jameson, and I am here to talk to you guys today about conflict. Does anybody know what conflict is?
Me.
Okay. What's conflict? You right here.
A problem.
A problem. What's conflict?
A problem.
A problem. Okay. Conflict, simply defined, is a problem you have with someone. And sometimes conflict, well, all the time conflict will happen. But what happens when it's conflict between the people closest to you? Okay, now I have a question and I want somebody to give me an actual answer. Who had a conflict today? It could be a husband and a wife. Hey, stop taking all my blanket and freezing. Or it could be maybe your sibling busted in your room and didn't knock on the door. Anybody have an example of conflict that you went through maybe this morning, maybe last night? Yes.
So, our conflict is I want seafood for dinner, and you won't budge.
Okay, so you want a certain thing to eat and someone else wants something else to eat.
Right, we have a problem.
That is a conflict. That's a great example of a conflict. I've got some news for you guys. Conflict is inevitable. That means it's gonna always be there. It's never, ever gonna go away. No matter how old you get, no matter the only way you won't have conflict is if you live alone for the rest of your life and you never talk to anybody. Who wants to do that, right? Okay, well, so the actual definition of conflict is the interaction of interdependent people who perceive incompatible goals, scarce resources, or interference for others. That's a lot of words. And some people probably won't understand it. So let's break this down. He wants a certain food, somebody else wants a different food. That's a resource. That's like, oh, I want this, but they want that. So that's a goal that's not able to be reached. You want a car, but mom says you're not ready yet. Well, my goal is to be able to drive and be independent. But mom says no, that's a conflict. Let me tell you about a theory. There's a theory called the conflict communication theory. It says that conflict is inevitable, it's necessary, but guess what? Here's the good news. It is manageable. It looks at conflict as an ongoing process and not just a one-time disagreement. Because some people, let's say you're married or you have a boyfriend or something or girlfriend, and it's like, oh man, we had an argument, we had a really big issue, but we made it through and we're okay now, we're all good. No. Conflict will arise. It always arises. From a baby until probably maybe what, three, four, you start to realize issues happen with each other. Maybe you have twins and the twins fight. Maybe you have an older sibling and the older sibling's jealous of the smaller sibling. Conflict is gonna happen. It's never gonna go away. So what our goal is to learn management. How do we manage this conflict? How can we say, well, we know this is gonna happen. What can we do? We have to learn our conflict styles. So I'm gonna talk to you about 5 conflict styles, and we're all one of these. And now we have to be honest and search within us, okay? So the first conflict style, and you can decide which ones are good or which ones are bad. The first conflict style is competing. The competing conflict style is the one that says, hey, I don't care what you say. I'm not doing it. I'm not budging. You can go and talk to the wall because I'm not changing my mind. That's competitive. Anybody in here got a competitive conflict style? Okay. All right, well, we'll talk afterwards. I've got some special therapy for you. But let's go to the next one. Then there's avoiding. There's people, and a lot of times this can be women, that avoid conflict. They say, you know what? I just don't want to talk. I'm just going to go to my room and shut my door. And then they don't even approach the conflict. They just, hey, get out of my face and leave me alone. And they're gone. They act like it's not a problem. They just tune it out. Raise your hand if you're an avoider. Don't look at the person next to you. All right, we've got some avoiders. All right, now let's see where we're at now. What about compromisers? Let's see. And maybe you think this is right, maybe you think this is wrong. These are the people that say, all right, look, you want to do this, I'll do this. and we can just do this. You give up this, I'll give up this, let's just do this and meet in the middle. Let's make it work. I'll meet in the middle, you meet in the middle. That's called a compromiser. We're gonna come back to that. How many of you think you compromise well? Okay, all right. Well, let's go to accommodating. Accommodating is, you know what? Whatever you want. I don't care anymore. You just do it. Whatever you want to do, go for it. I don't care. My opinion doesn't matter. You do what you want to do. I'll give it all up. Anybody here an accommodator that just says go for what you want? Okay.
That's not
That's
you.
what I'm talking about. Raise your hand. Good job. Okay. So the last one we have is collaborating. And collaborating says, you know what? This is what you want. This is what we have going on. Let's talk about a strategy to where you win and I win, and we come together and we plan this out. So we both feel like we're winning. That's collaboration. Anybody a collaborator? All right, well, that's the goal. The goal is to be a collaborator. So let's run through real quick. Competing, that's the first one. Oh, I don't want anything to do with you. I'm not, we know that that's wrong. That is a form of almost abuse because you're just totally neglecting someone, right? You're being rude, you're being hateful, angry. You have a question?
Yeah.
What's your
So you can only do one of these, or can you have a blended?
You can have a blended.
Yeah.
You can have blended mixes of them. And then there are some times where maybe you're one way in one conflict and another way in another
So it
conflict.
can be like scenario.
Yes, it can be scenario based also. You know, it really depends. But most people are prone to conflict styles. Like you're gonna gravitate towards a style, right? So, in a competitive person, it takes a lot to come back from that because a lot of people that are just angry and they want it their way or no way, they're dealing with a lot of stuff deep down that they have to go through to work that out anyway. So we know competitive is the worst. We don't want to be that. Then we have the avoiding. Well, the avoiders just shut everything out. But how long can you do that for? Because when you're avoiding something, you're letting it build up inside you and you're just dealing with it with only yourself. And so then you end up having bitterness and resentment and all these types of things. Well, then you have your compromising. Well, we would think compromising sounds good, right? I'll give up something if you give up something, and then, you know. But here's the problem with compromising. Compromising means that neither one of us ever really reached the goal, right? It means that someone will always have to empty out some of their bag. So that's not the goal, even though it's better than some of these, it's still not, compromising is not your goal. So next we have accommodating, and accommodating is that, oh, do whatever you want. And that's pretty much saying, I give up. My feelings don't matter, nothing matters, just do what you want. And that's just pretty much saying, I don't, like, you've given up your power, you have no power. And at that point, that person has the choice to either let you give that power up or then fight for reconciliation, which is a whole nother story for another day. So we don't want to be accommodating. If you feel like you've lost power, then that's an issue. So the collaboration strategy says we lay all of the pieces out on the table and I get to reach my goal, you get to reach your goal, and we come together to find a solution that works where we both win. So if I'm always cold in the middle of the night and you're always cold in the middle of the night, the collaboration method says, hey, I have an idea. Let's go shop and buy a bigger blanket. And now I can win and you can win. Nobody has to give up the blanket and just say, oh, I'll take it. Or nobody has to say, you know what, I'm gonna go sleep in the other room by myself. Nobody has to give up anything. Collaboration method says, let's work on it together. And this is what the conflict communication theory is. It focuses on conflict as a management process instead of a one-time fix for one issue. Because